The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons, Medicare, Social Security, fraud and legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, today on Aging Horizons, we're going to be talking about investment fraud prevention. We have a wonderful and very knowledgeable guest. He's been working with law enforcement and fraud prevention of all types for many years and has a lot of good information to tell us. We have a great show planned and it's really information that you need to have, so stay tuned.
It was a beautiful day. There was about 2 square feet of ice near the door, which I slid on and fell, cracking one rib. And I became somewhat frightening for me to walk outside, particularly in the winter. The Stepping On program came as kind of a surprise to me. I didn't know about it. I've learned the importance of proper balance. I think anybody who has fallen or is afraid of falling would benefit from this program.
Summer in Montana is a great time to visit your local farmer's market. Enjoy the social atmosphere while shopping for a wide variety of fresh, locally grown produce. Together with both WIC and Senior Farmers Market nutrition programs, you help feed your family 5 or more daily servings of fruits and vegetables for better health. You also help local ag producers and enhance the state's economy. So, for summer fun that's nutritious and helps Montana's economy, shop at your local farmer's market.
Good care is your right. In Montana, there's over 11,000 beds in nursing homes and assisted living facilities. If you or a family member needs assistance or help in obtaining information about care issues and placement options, call 1-800-332-2272. If you or a family member need information about Montana's long-term care resident rights, or if you need help solving a problem or a complaint about a nursing home or an assisted living facility, call us at 800-332-2272.
I didn't know. Montana has one of the highest suicide rates in the country.
Know the signs.
Depression.
Isolation. Giving away possessions.
Alcohol abuse.
It's what you can do now that matters.
Don't be afraid to ask. Are you suicidal? Tell someone.
Don't leave the person alone.
Offer hope.
Call the Lifeline.
Don't keep suicide a secret.
Break the silence.
Hi folks, welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm Kim Everman, your host, and today we have a great program planned for you with a great guest. We're going to be talking about fraud in the investment world and how to prevent that. We have with us today Al Ward, who is a fraud prevention consultant, but also an advocate extraordinaire. We've seen Al here many times on many projects. Al, welcome back. It's great to have you here today.
Good to be here.
So fraud, investment fraud prevention, let's talk about that. You told me that you're working on a grant, or you have a grant, so let's start with that.
Right. We have a grant from the National Crime Prevention Council and FINRA, which is the Financial Industry Regulating Authority. And they're a nonprofit regulator, so they regulate the investment industry. But they also raise money, because they're a nonprofit corporation, they raise money to do prevention campaigns and that sort of thing. And so we have a small grant from NCPC, which came from FINRA. And our goal is to do training throughout Montana in the next year. So we're going to be starting in October, so we'll be talking about that later in the show. But the grant itself has some really exciting stuff. One of the things that is pretty interesting is that we have a CD that we'll be giving to everybody that takes the training that we're going to do in the spring and the training that we're going to do at the Crime Prevention Conference. For the people who are being trained at the Crime Prevention Conference, we also have a trainer video that has video clips and PowerPoints and all that sort of thing for people to be able to give 30 and 60-minute presentations on investment fraud. There's also some other handout kind of stuff like a Fraud 101 brochure that just kind of goes through some of the things that people need to know about investment fraud. And then, of course, the last thing is a deck of cards. Because one of the things that I think FINRA decided a long time ago was that cards were a good symbol for the risks that people take in investment.
That's true.
So, and the thing that's interesting about the deck of cards is that there are investment fraud prevention tips on each of the cards.
Oh, great. That's great. So this is all part of the grant, but tell me a little bit more about, what are the activities that you're actually going to be doing?
Well, the first thing that we're going to do is what we call a Train the Trainer event. It's a 2-hour program that we'll be doing as a pre-conference training event at the Montana Crime Prevention Association conference. Actually, the state partners for the grant are the Montana Crime Prevention Association and AARP, as well as the state auditor CSI program.
Oh, great.
Commissioner of Securities and Insurance. So we're looking forward to bringing those people together again, like we've done in the past.
Right.
And so we have a lot to talk about that has to do with investment fraud. We're learning a lot. As a matter of fact, the person who did the DVD is a personal friend of mine who I wrote a book with in 1995, Doug Shadell, who has been AARP's pretty much lead person in fraud in general. He's done videos, he's done research. There's a lot of the research comes out in the grant, the information that we give out to the public. Because we've found out, who the targeted people are and who lose more money in investment fraud. And it's not necessarily the people that you think it would be.
So who are some of the people?
Well, they're predominantly male. They're in the 55 to 65 age range. And there's some reasons for that I'll go into in the next segment. But the bottom line is they're getting close to retirement. Maybe they haven't put as much away as they'd like to have. And so as a result, they're willing to do more risky things. Because obviously, the axiom in investing is the riskier the investment, the potential for gain is higher. The other side of it is the potential for loss is higher as well.
Right.
But there are some things that we have that I think are pretty interesting. There's a quiz that people can take, and it actually gives them a lot of insight into where their thinking is wrong or where their thinking is right about such things as
probably a great little tool to identify whether you're at risk for maybe getting into a scheme of some sort.
A couple of other things that are interesting about it is that one of the things that the research has shown, the people that have a higher risk of being defrauded are people who get their advice from friends and relatives.
Oh, dear.
Also, another one is obviously the people that do the riskier investments, but the people who don't check.
Sure.
Because one of the big concerns is making sure that the broker that you're buying the product from is licensed.
And on the level. Well, folks, we're just about to the end of our first segment, and we have so much more to tell you. Al has got some great history in this topic and can really give you some great information, so don't go away. Stay tuned.
I had a terrible fall in December, and I put a hole in my wall. I hit it with my head, and it really, really scared me. The Stepping On program gave me confidence. We had a physical therapist come. He gave me specific exercises to strengthen my legs. I think that a lot of people in Montana need to take this program. We all think that we get to a certain age, you hit 60, and we expect to fall. You don't have to.
Every generation produces heroes, men and women who step forward to defend our country in time of need, no matter the personal cost to themselves. And though we can never fully repay them, we can make sure they have access to low-cost, long-term care when they need it. That's what Montana's Veterans Homes are all about. If you've got a hero in need in your family, call us. We can help.
Sometimes the difference between having the life-saving medications you need and going without is the premium on your Medicare drug insurance. If you're a Montana resident enrolled in the Medicare prescription drug program, you may be eligible to receive help with your premiums, even if you own your home or other assets or think you may have too much income. Call or visit the Big Sky RX website today to find out if you qualify.
There you go, ma'am. See you next month.
Thank you.
Here in Montana, we love our outdoor activities. Unfortunately, few of them are risk-free. Indeed, Montana is second in the nation per capita in head injuries that can destroy the lives of people we love. That's why you should insist your family always wear protective helmets. But you can do even more. When you fill out your vehicle registration this year, circle the Y and donate $1 to support traumatic brain injury prevention and education. Now that's using the old noggin.
Hi folks, welcome back to the second segment of Aging Horizons, where today we're talking about investment fraud prevention. We have a little video that we're going to show as kind of a special treat today. It's just a little kind of preview of some training in the investment fraud prevention and it's the events that are coming up very soon. So watch this.
If it can happen to me, it can happen to anyone.
In the current environment, anyone can be taken by an investment fraud.
I've seen Harvard-educated lawyers, doctors, accountants, even law enforcement fall for investment scams.
He had a reputation as been around town as paying these great returns, and it was a great deal.
I knew all about his family, his wife, his children.
Everyone trusted him because he was looked up at in the community.
The attorneys looked over the paperwork. It looked like it was a legit deal.
We don't promise you, the Lord does.
I didn't even take a broker's fee on that.
I said I would not call unless it was a rare and definitely undervalued situation.
I was willing to take more risk because I'm trying to make up for what I consider lost time.
They managed to con dozens of people out of hundreds of thousands of dollars.
It's possible for a con artist to swamp our thinking processes by getting our emotions up so high.
When said and done, they had taken in almost $580 million.
My name is Jerry Walsh, and I've been fighting investment fraud for more than 15 years. I've seen up close the hardship that follows when people lose their homes or their retirement savings to a smooth-talking con criminal. The pitch or the hook they use to lure their victims is usually different, but their methods are always the same. Once you understand how the bad guys operate, you can outsmart them at their own game.
Well, Al, that was a great video. Thanks for bringing that along for us to see. So that's a part of the training that you're going to be doing under this grant, correct?
Right. We're doing actually two types of training. We're doing training for trainers, people that are interested in taking the message to other people, and then we're also doing training for the public. The Train the Trainers event, the first one, will be at the Crime Prevention Conference, October 8th. And then the rest of the trainings, we're going to do 7 trainings at least in the 7 population centers in Montana, and they will be sometime in the spring. And we'll have another show, Aging Horizons show, that really specifically deals with that training.
Oh, great.
So-
We'll have you come back for that. And just so we can mention it, we can't mention it too many times, October 8th in Bozeman
Right.
is where the Crime Prevention Conference will be taking place.
At the Best Western.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell us about the training.
Basically, since we're dealing with the, with the Train the Trainer training, I'll start with that. Everybody that comes to the Train the Trainer training will get a CD that actually has the training tools on it. And everybody will get at least one copy of Tricks of the Trade, Outsmarting Investment Fraud, which is the video that we'll give out to everybody that comes to the training.
Super.
It's an hour-long video, so it's a little bit long, and we won't show it in a training event. But it's something that people can take home and maybe learn some things about investment fraud that they don't know. The objective of the program is basically to create fraud fighters. People that can go out and help their neighbors and their relatives not become victims of fraud.
Right.
And recognize some of the signs if a person is moving in that direction, so they can try and figure out a way to move back away from the line so that they don't get taken.
Well, and Al, wouldn't you say it's true too that people are often embarrassed that they've been conned, if you will, and so it's harder for them to seek out their neighbors or their friends or relatives because they're embarrassed.
Right. Oh yeah, yeah, and that goes for everybody. And it doesn't matter what age they are, because a lot of people that are younger than 65 are victimized by fraud.
Right.
I think I remember when I was in patrol, the youngest person that I saw a victim of a fraud con artist was a 18-year-old
Wow.
student.
So it can happen to anyone.
Can happen to anybody. The learning objectives are basically to talk to people about the risk, show people what the persuasion tactics are, and then go into the prevention methods.
Sure.
And persuasion tactics are very, very pervasive, and the con criminals use them better than most of our, public relations people do.
Right.
Who's victimized? Male, 55 to 65, more financially literate, college educated, recent change in financial or health status, higher income, and they're risk takers.
That sounds about right.
So the main thing that I think we need to leave people with is ask and check. And because I went to a training with a bunch of cops, they came up with a different way of looking at that. They said, think about a police officer pulling somebody over. What does he ask you for?
Yeah.
Your driver's license and registration.
That's right.
Okay? Ask and check. See if they're licensed in the state, and see if the investment that you're trying to buy is
Well, folks, stay
registered.
tuned. We'll be right back.
Montana is a very rural state with very small communities, and I think it's very important that we get it out in those smaller communities that yes, our older adults are having falls. It's very important to prevent these falls, and now we have a program, Stepping On, that can help them with that and teach them to have a better quality of life, live longer independently by themselves or with their spouses. We can use the Stepping On program to help prevent those falls and to make people's quality of life better.
Questions about Medicare and other types of insurance? Contact the State Health Insurance Assistance Program office to get answers to questions like, what is the difference between Medicare and Medicaid? And how do you decide if you need Medicare supplemental insurance? This insurance counseling program is not a sales program. It is available to provide answers to your insurance questions For more information, call the State Health Insurance Assistance Program office at 1-800-332-2272.
If the Aging Network in Montana was a restaurant, the sign out front would say, over 50 million meals served over the last 30 years. Since adequate nutrition is critical to health and quality of life, nutrition services are an important factor in keeping older Montanans healthy, independent, and living in their community and home. To find out more about senior nutrition programs in your area, call 1-800-551-3191.
Are you looking for a helping hand through the Maze of Human Services, or for information on government programs and benefits that you may qualify for? The Information and Assistance Program provides information on all programs that meet our aging population's basic needs and programs that enhance their lives as well as the lives of their families or caregivers. If you have questions about Medicaid, Medicare, or other services and programs, please call 1-800-551-3191.
Hi folks, welcome back to our last Aging Horizons segment today, where we've been talking about investment fraud prevention with Al Ward. Al, you've been telling us some really interesting things about fraud prevention. We've got a really great training event coming up and such, but before we move on, I wondered if you would just give our audience a couple of examples of what you called persuasion techniques. What is that? Because I know that our folks have been victims to those at times.
These are the ways that con criminals actually get you to lower your, your defenses so that they can actually get through. One of them that I think is really kind of tricky is called phantom riches. Because they're going to present you with something, and usually pretty fast. They're going to, they're going to try and keep you moving along, but they're going to present you with something that you really want. It's not, it's not $5, it's $1 million, or it's $100 million. And then they're going to play on things like, just think of what you could do for your grandkids with that money. You could put them through college and this and that and the other thing. And those phantom riches then become real, and you don't think about checking and doing all the other kinds of things because it's a deal. The other one is scarcity. It's a deal that you have to do today because it won't be available tomorrow, so you better sign up now or you're going to miss out. So those are a couple of the persuasion techniques that are used, and they are very effectively used.
Yeah. Well, so it would be of great benefit for a lot of folks to learn about some of this. So let's talk about the event that's coming up that you're involved with on October 8th in Bozeman. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, we actually have a day on October 8th of it's called a pre-conference training for the Montana Crime Prevention Association Conference. And there are, several other juvenile justice professionals training, drug endangered training, victim services, and then fraud prevention, enforcement, and prosecution. And so we will have a day of the training. 2 hours of that is going to be me doing the Train the Trainer event so that I can train people that can go out and present these programs. But the rest of the day, we're going to have somebody from the Attorney General's office to talk about the frauds that they deal with, somebody from CSI that will talk about both securities and insurance fraud. We'll have the Banking Commissioner's office. We'll talk about frauds that relate to them. And then we'll also have somebody from the Medicaid fraud unit that will be talking about the things that they do.
Super. So you're really going to be covering all bases pretty much.
Yeah. Whenever I try to get training available for people, I want it to be as complete as possible. Right. This is great because they have tools that they can get for free that can help them spread the word to other people, and that's obviously
and that's what we
the goal.
need. We need people to spread the word to others. Now, What we do need to do is know how to register or to sign up for the conference and get some other details.
There are two websites that people can go to.
Okay.
One is for the Montana Crime Prevention Association, and the other one is for the Board of Crime Control.
Okay.
And they have connections on those websites for registering for the conference. And we'll have some more information on the screen about people you can contact by phone if you're not, on computers.
Right.
The conference itself, the next 2 days, is a 3-track conference. So it has specific things for law enforcement. It has specific things for volunteers, and it, some of the stuff is really interesting. Human trafficking is one of the topics. Gambling addiction and problems is another one. And then there's going to be an evening session for the general public with Jermaine Galloway. Tall Cop Says Stop is the name of the program. And it should be pretty interesting. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to be in the conference. There is a $75 fee for the conference. But one of the things about the Crime Prevention Association is that our goal, as far as people who come to the conference and people who become members of the association, is that they're people who have an interest in crime prevention.
Right.
They don't have to be police officers. They don't have to be in the court system. They don't necessarily even have to be connected to a nonprofit corporation, but there's an awful lot of nonprofits that do crime prevention in the community. So
really, Al, I was thinking, who would be the people who would want to attend this conference? Really, anyone.
Anyone.
That is looking to be more educated and really to be a fraud fighter, just like you said, and save a lot of people from a lot of anxiety and sadness.
Well, I know that in the trainings that I've done in the past, I've had a lot of people that have come up to me and said they had a friend or a relative that they thought was being ripped off, but they didn't know what to tell them. And I think that this training gives them a little bit of information about how to approach them and what kind of things that they need to know about so that they don't get victimized.
Right. Well, and it isn't just seniors. Like you said, you knew of an 18-year-old who was a victim of some type of fraud. So anybody could come and be better educated from going to this conference. Great. Well, folks, we had a great show today. We're almost to the end of the last segment, and we just really want to let you know that fighting fraud is a very, very important thing to do. If you've been the victim of a fraud, don't be embarrassed. Lots of other people have as well. Give a call to someone and get some help. For Aging Horizons, I'm Kimmy Everman, and thanks.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free 800-332-2272.